Multia dit. Agus fáilte go dtí TAROT Incogweirdo má carjas. Hello and welcome to TAROT Incogweirdo, the new segment here on Terra Incogweirdo, where we ask Aunt Angie's cards the questions about the strange, unusual, and paranormal, mysteries and unsolved whatevers in this strange, weird, and beautiful Incogweirdo multiverse simulation in which we live. And today is Purple Mommy edition. Yay! Purple Mommy, my wonderful channel moderator, has sent in a few questions to get the ball rolling here on TAROT Incogweirdo so you guys can see and get an idea for how it's done. And if you would like to participate, we would love that. Please ask your questions down in the comment section below, or you can email them to me at Terra Incogweirdo. That's Terra, T-E-R-R-A. Incogweirdo. The address is down in the description below on my channel. Yes, indeed. So there's just a whole world of paranormal things going on out there, and most of what we get on the internet is investigating or asking the questions, but how many times are we getting answers? So I thought it would be super cool to put these questions to my beloved tarot deck, The Way of the Cartouche by Murray Hope. I have been reading this one particular deck for 40 years now, and I have so much faith in this deck. The deck is never wrong. Aunt Angie is sometimes wrong in the way she reads the deck. So if anything is incorrect, it's because Aunt Angie is a human, and I make mistakes. My avatar makes mistakes. Okay, so over the past 40 years, I would say my success rate is about 80%. Okay, so I just thought you guys might like to know that. Okay, so I do apologize also for sort of the halting way that I speak and look around. But in case you've never watched any of my other videos, I am autistic. So I do all those autistic things where I kind of hem and haw, and I'm looking for my words because they like to hide behind this huge wall in my head. And if I look off to the side, it's because I'm trying to find that perfect word that's going to describe what I'm trying to tell you. And already you've probably, seen me kind of stutter and stumble a little bit, and that is the life of an autistic person, my friends. So please take that into consideration and be kind. Okay, so Purple Mommy sent in some really good questions, and the way it's going to work is that I'm going to do a star spread. Now that's usually laid out in a star pattern, but for the sake of this video, I've laid it out in a straight line to help us, okay? So the first card, what happens is I'm going to talk about the question, and I'll be shuffling the cards in front of you. The cards will be on screen at all times, okay? So you'll know that, I'm not manipulating the cards. So I will shuffle the cards, I will be talking about the question, then I will cut the deck into three, and there's a way to pick up the deck, a specific way to pick up the deck and put it back together again, and then I will read the question. The first card that gets laid down is nature of the question. Okay, so it kind of defines the question for you, and these cards are read on 3 different levels: super conscious, psychological, and physical. So like spiritual, psychological, brain, and mundane physical. So they're read on those 3 levels, but sometimes they appear reversed. So each card has 6 different possible interpretations depending on the question. Okay, so again, number 1 is nature of the question. Number 2 is reason for asking, and this usually speaks to the mindset of the person who is asking the question. Sometimes this can be really helpful. Sometimes it's just sort of ancillary information, but sometimes it comes in very useful. The third part that will be pulled is factors to be considered, and this often gives you information that you didn't think about or wouldn't have thought about, and lets you know that there's other things going on than maybe what just appears to be happening on the surface. Okay, and the fourth card is going to give us, this is pretty much the answer. Okay, the fourth card is either the solution, the advice, or a comment. Okay, so this usually pretty much answers your question. And then the fifth card, outcome, lets you know in general what will happen or already has happened in regards to whatever the fourth card tells you, the solution, advice, or comment given. And sometimes it just gives you a little bit more detailed information about the reading in general. Okay, so, and also you guys need to know, I do still use this book because, you know, sometimes you need to go into the book to pull out what the cards are really trying to tell you for any given reading. So yes, I do often go into my book to help me read the questions hopefully more accurately for all of you. And just so you know, I have to put all of my cards back in order, upright, in between each question. And we're going to do 2 questions today, okay? So I do apologize in advance. It does take a couple minutes to put the cards back together, but I will show them to you. So I will introduce the cards to you while I am doing that. And my deck is very old and worn, and it makes it hard to shuffle and get them back into place. But this is an amazing deck, and I love and revere this deck. So thank you, deck. Thank you. Please give me the ability to read clearly and to keep my ego out of it. Okay, that's where most psychics go wrong. They try to interject their own point of view, which is neither here nor there when it comes to reading tarot. Your intuition does kick in from time to time, and that is where the psychic part of reading cards come in to play. Otherwise, this is just a numbers game. This is odds. There's 25 cards. They can only come up in a certain amount of configurations, and it is merely reading cards or laying out cards is merely a game of odds. How was it shuffled? How did it cut? What cards came up on top and which cards, how they got laid out, right? And the only psychic part about it is when the person who's reading your psychic organ sort of kicks in sometimes and gives you extra information. And I will let you know when and if that's happening, okay? So, the first reading that sweet, dear, my love, Purple Mommy sent in regarding the Mother Mary of the Christian pantheon. She would like to know, Purple Mommy would like to know, are Marian apparitions genuine? So she's talking about the visions of, or the appearances of the Mother Mary to people across the globe at different periods of time. Often seem to appear to young children or women, and that's not surprising because Mary is a guardian of children and women. Also, it seems like the places where the Marian apparitions occur, or if they occur like regarding a statue, where the statue might like display stigmata and start bleeding from the wrists and the ankles. The statue or whatever the relic is, or the place itself, tend to become places of where people are healed when they go to pray. So these end up being places of pilgrimage. Okay, so all right, cards, can you please tell us, my dear sweet beloved tarot deck, which I love so much, could you please tell us, Purple Mommy would like to know if Marian apparitions are in fact genuine. Okay, all right, let's shuffle a little bit more. As I said, these cards are really old and they don't like to be moved around like any old person doesn't want to be jostled around. Okay, so you just got to be really kind and sweet with them. Okay, cards, are Marian apparitions genuine? And okay, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that we very well may see card number 2, Isis, who is the Egyptian version of Mary, the mother and protector of women and children, or another aspect of Isis, which is card number 4, Bast, because she's particular to the home and the hearth and healing. And it is possible that the Mirror of Hathor might show up. That's yet another aspect of Isis, but I'm feeling more like Isis and or Bast might show up in this reading. Okay, so number 1, nature of the question, crook and flail. All right, so Purple Mommy wanted to know if Marian apparitions are genuine, and what this card is talking about is authority and worldly authority and those who are in charge. So my thought, and Perps, you can let us know, is that Purple Mommy is concerned that the powers that be are either inflating or deflating the actual occurrences of these Marian apparitions. I think Purple Mommy is suspicious that maybe the church or other worldly powers are somehow using these Marian apparitions to their own end, or manipulating the truth of them, or not reporting on them. In any case, what I'm getting from this in number 1, nature of the question, is that Purple Mommy is suspicious that something is being manipulated here. Okay, reason for asking, point of interest. What did I call it? There she is. Bast. All right, so this is the reason for asking is that Purple Mommy feels apparently very close to Mother Mary. Perps, am I correct in that? Because that's her point. Her point of interest is about the spirit in the world that cares for the little children and protects the women and is a healing force for the planet. So that's Purple Mommy's point, reason for asking. Okay. Factors to be considered. Sorry to be so right. But there she is, people. Hathor, Mirror of Hathor. And Mirror of Hathor is specifically talking about how you reflect that which you believe, and it's kind of complicated. We could get into quantum physics and string theory when we're talking about Hathor, because I believe she very much talks about the fact that we're living in a reflective medium. So in terms of factors to be considered, I think Hathor is compounding the fact that, or she's backing up the fact that the energy of the mother is in fact a presence on this planet, and these Marian apparitions indeed do manifest on this planet to those who are seeking her help and looking for her help. Mary reflects it back to them. Okay. So I think factors to be considered is that those who have eyes to see do indeed experience the Marian apparitions. Okay, so solution, advice, or comment given. Okay, very nice. Lotus. Love this card. Lotus means peace and peace of mind, and it means that in terms of solution, advice, or comment given, that you should be peaceful inside, knowing that the answer to your question is, in this case, yes. And it should give you your soul succor is the word I want to say, but I can't think of a better word. It makes you feel safe, happy, completed, and at peace. So the comment I believe that is being given here is, yes, the apparitions are genuine and they bring a beautiful feeling of love and peace and being guarded by Mary to those who are lucky enough to see them. Okay, and our outcome to Mary is serious. Now, okay, this is interesting. So, Sirius talked about universal awareness, and so I think what this is saying here in terms of the outcome is that Mary is on this planet is one aspect of the greater vibration of the archetype of the mother and the loving, compassionate energy of the universe. And I think that what this is trying to tell us is that Mary and Marian apparitions, that's just one of the many ways that this energy manifests on this planet, and it is really an all-encompassing energy that encompasses every dimension and every multiverse. You can and you will find a representation of the motherly, loving, compassionate energy of the universe everywhere. It is both within and without, so above, so below. Okay, so my take on this reading is that yes, indeed, the Marian apparitions are genuine, and I believe that Purple Mommy is very wise to perhaps think that maybe the powers that be are trying to manipulate these events for their own ends. And would that indeed surprise anyone? No, would not surprise me one bit. Okay, so that's question number one. And now I got to get my cards back in order, and I'll hopefully this won't take too long. It's amazing how they can hide from me even though they're all right in front of me. So I'll just kind of show them to you as I put them back together. This is card number 1 is Osiris. The number 1 is gone after all these years. Osiris is the god. And Isis, did you show up in this reading? No? Okay. Where art thou, Isis? Here she is. Okay, here's Isis, the goddess. There she is. And their son, Horus. Here is Best. And that's a baby rattle, by the way. Isn't that adorable? Hearth and home. Little children. Bless the little children. Okay, 5 is Tough. Karma. Health, healing, law, scholarship. On different levels. Okay. 6, Mirror of Hathor. This is a reflective medium we live in, people. You see what you want. You make up your mind as to what you're looking at. It's nothing until you look at it and decide. Schrodinger's box. Auntie Angie's favorite. Okay, number 7, Nevitus. That's which is hidden. Which I think we're going to see a lot of Nevitus here on TAROT Incogweirdo because a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about is hidden information or occult or adept level information that's really not supposed to be known by all of us shirkers down here on the planet and are running around in our little avatars. Some of these things are supposed to be hidden. All right, Ta, it represents the very masculine and protective energy of the universe. Okay, number 9 this is a card for my birth sign. This is Anubis, and Anubis is the navigator. This is very much like Mercury. Okay, I'm a Gemini, right? Gave it away. So if you're Gemini, Anubis is your card. And what Anubis does is navigates through troubled waters. And in the Egyptian pantheon, Anubis navigates your soul through the underworld. And it's kind of interesting that my life has sort of played out in a way where I try to help people navigate these subjects that are paranormal and occult. It just kind of is the way things have happened for me. All right, so that is Anubis. The card number 10 is Set. Set is a brother to Osiris and actually killed his brother and dismembered him and hid his pieces all across Upper and Lower Egypt, and then Isis had to find all the pieces and put them back together, but there was one specific piece that couldn't be found, and I bet you can guess what that is. So there's a whole story about how their son Horus was conceived. Very interesting. Now, Set, the god of the underworld. All right, Set is the card for problems, okay, and blockages on all levels, but you would think, right, that if you ask a question, if you want to know if somebody is dead, you would think that Set would come up. Well, in my experience, it took me a while and a couple very wrong readings to learn that Set is not the card that comes up when my deck wants to tell me that someone is dead, and I will explain it to you when we get there. Okay, so this deck, besides representing the Egyptian pantheon, is an elemental deck, and it represents all of the elements as well. So card number 11 is Fire, Fire of Creation. Okay, card number 12 is Air, Movement and Intellect. Card number 13 is Water, Emotions, and also a card for things not being fixed, things flowing in and flowing out. It's a changeable card. 14 is Earth, and that is growth, and also usually talks about sort of very mundane sort of things that happen on this earth. It does have, a higher level to it, but it mostly is going to talk to you about physical stuff. Okay. Card number 15 is Sirius. Represents, it's universal awareness. So it represents the element of the void. Okay, people don't think about the fact there are 5 elements. The void is the 5th. Okay. All right. 16, lotus, peace, contentment. We like lotus. Okay. 17, crook and flail, worldly control and just being in control. The crook and the flail are the objects that the pharaoh would hold, and each one of them represents Upper Egypt and one of them represents Lower Egypt, but I cannot remember which is which, and I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. Okay, so 17, crook and flail. 18 is Uraeus, and this card represents wisdom and sagacity and occult adeptship. And of course it's a snake, because the snake in ancient societies and ancient cultures represented wisdom. And that is why in the Christian pantheon they turned him into the bad guy, because they had to take all of those old religions and somehow incorporate them and make sense of them in this new religion of Christianity. Okay, so here's Uraeus, and Uraeus means to everyone in the ancient world, snakes were not bad. Snakes meant wisdom. Okay, so there's Uraeus for you. Okay, card number 19, winged disc. It means the creation of a masterpiece, and pretty much all amazing things come under winged disc. All right, 20, twins. This card means twin energies, dual energies, twin souls, partnerships, marriage, stuff like that. Sphinx also means things are hidden, but it's more like the factors that need to be in place for things to work out have not yet fallen into place. So this is more about waiting and observing, because that's what the Sphinx did in front of the Great Pyramid of Cheops. The Sphinxes, apparently there are 2 of them, people, 2 of them, sat guard to watch over the entrance to supposedly the underworld. Interesting, considering all the stuff they're finding under those pyramids these days, folks. Okay, card number 22, Scarab. Okay, Scarab is a card for rebirth, but guess what? Remember when I was talking about Set? If somebody is dead and you're trying to figure out if somebody died, Scarab comes up. Okay, so what does this tell me? All right, it tells me that our souls are eternal and our bodies are merely vessels, and that there is no dead. We do not die. We simply transcend and are reborn into other forms. Now, why did the Egyptians choose the scarab for the sign of rebirth? Because do you know what scarabs do, guys? They lay their eggs inside a ball of dung, and they roll it around with them. It can be seen going hither and yon, rolling their balls of poo around. And eventually, from this dead, dried piece of feces, life erupts forth. And life comes out of death, or the dung ball. And that is why the Egyptians considered scarab to be the sign of rebirth. Okay, 22. Number 23 is pyramid. Pyramid indicates a timelessness or a period of waiting or an initiation period. 24 is Ankh, and Ankh represents the straight up life force and understanding in general. And this symbol is the key symbol, and it indicates the dawning of a new awareness. Okay, and the final card in my deck is Buckle of Isis, and this card has to do with fertility, but the basic meaning is growth with a sacrifice. It's a representation of a uterus and a phallus. Okay, so basically, like a really common example would be you get to have sex and that's usually fun and usually feels good, right? But the outcome is that you're going to have to give birth, and birth is called labor for a reason. It is hard, and it is painful. So that is a perfect example of fertility with a sacrifice. You have a baby, but you got to go through pregnancy and childbirth to get there. Okay, so that's just a very common example of how Buckle of Isis might show up. All right, well, there you go. That's my deck, and I hope you enjoyed that. Okay, so the next question that Purple Mommy answered is so cool, and I'm really excited about this one, because this is kind of like one of those mysteries that I'm just dying to find out the answer to. So Purple Mommy wanted to know, and I got a little information, a little extra infoid here. So Purple Mommy wants to know, did D.B. Cooper survive his parachute stunt? Yes, I want to know that. Now, who is D.B. Cooper? Many of you may know right away, and some of you may not know. Okay, so I'm going to read this Wikipedia entry for you. Okay. D.B. Cooper, also known as Dan Cooper, was an unidentified man, so we're assuming that D.B. or Dan Cooper is not his real name, was an unidentified man who hijacked Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305, a Boeing 727 aircraft in United airspace on November 24th, 1971. During the flight from Portland, Oregon to Seattle, Washington, Cooper told a flight attendant that he had a bomb and demanded $200,000 in ransom and 4 parachutes upon landing in Seattle. Just so you know, $200,000 in 2024 would be equivalent to $1.6 million. So a chunk of change there. After releasing the passengers in Seattle, Cooper instructed the flight crew to refuel the aircraft and begin a second flight to Mexico City, with a refueling stop in Reno, Nevada. About 30 minutes after taking off from Seattle, Cooper opened the aircraft's aft door, deployed the suitcase, and parachuted into the night over southwestern Washington. Cooper's true identity and whereabouts have never been determined conclusively. Ooh, okay. Super cool question, and very much a Terra Incogweirdo mystery. I should have been shuffling, but I couldn't read the book and shuffle at the same time. I need to develop into one of those Hindu gods where I have bunches and bunches of arms, so I can do more than one thing at once. So, okay, cards. D.B. Cooper, did he survive his parachute stunt? Could he possibly still be alive today? Cards will let us know. So excited. Okay, guys, D.B. Cooper, let's go. Let's see. What do the cards have to say about D.B. Cooper? Okay, nature of the question is Isis. Okay, now remember, this is representing the state of mind of Purple Mommy, who asked the question. Purple Mommy is a very caring, compassionate person. So Purple Mommy cares. She wants to know what happened to DB. Okay. Her reason for asking is crook and flail. Okay. So I guess she wants to know if DB, if he put one over on the man, right? If he escaped the confines of our world and the way things have to go, did he get free, or did he actually die or get arrested as a result of his stunt? Factors to be considered. Flying through the air with the greatest of ease. Okay, well, I could be wrong, folks, but I think this card is just merely reflecting the fact that DB took a plunge through the clouds. Okay, factors to be considered. He flew through the air. Okay, so he did jump according to the cards, he did jump. Okay, solution advisor comment given. Uh-oh, problem. But again, remember what I told you about these cards? Certainly, somebody jumping out of an airplane at that altitude is gonna have some problems. But right now, it's not looking like he died, unless Scarab comes up next, all right? He had problems. He really got snagged on some branches and maybe broke a bunch of stuff. But did he survive? How come? Oh, check it out. Indeed, D.B. Cooper survived. How do I know that? Because this is a life card. You know, this is best. This is the card of healing and family, compassion. All right. So I got to tell you guys, this is this is kind of what I thought. I felt like, yeah, DB survived, but he got super broken, probably broke a lot of bones, broke his back. Who knows? Could have had all sorts of complications as a result. I have always had the feeling that he's being shielded, or has been shielded by his family. So that is indeed what this is saying. This is saying that after he fell through the air, had lots of problems, and probably got hurt a bunch, he was taken in by his family. So there you go, people. We've solved the mystery of D.B. Cooper. He lived through his parachute stunt, got busted up, but his family and or friends, but this is more a family card. Maybe even a child, if he had a child, because these are cards for children, for protecting the children and such. Maybe his child has protected him all this time. So there you go, guys. Thank you, Purple Mommy, for sending in those questions and showing us how it's done. And I think it was very exciting. And I hope you enjoyed it too. So please, I would love it if you guys would send in some questions so we can do more Tarot Incogweirdo and uncover all the mysteries of the multiverse. Yay! It sounds good to me. So thank you guys again for being here today. Probably give you a video. I'm trying to bring you up to date on, my psychic progress throughout the years and bring you up to the present time and the weirdness that I started to experience when I moved out into the Oregon coastal range. A whole new species of incogweirdness for Auntie Angie. Okay, so I got at least one more video to kind of bring you from like my 20s, like and bring you through up until the time when I moved here, which was about 10 years ago. Okay, so look for those videos. We'll probably premiere them, and would love to see you guys in the chat. It's so much. We had a really good time last time. Thanks to everybody who showed up last time for the Purple Mommy origin story, and Auntie Angie got a psychic download about the true Purple Mommy, who my Purple Mommy is the namesake of the true Purple Mommy. So you can check that video out. I want to thank everybody who showed up for that premiere and who's here today. God bless you. Love you all very much. All right. So we will see you next time, guys, here on Tarot Incogweirdo, which exists within Terra Incogweirdo, the land, the para, is normal. Okay, guys, so until I see you next time, Slan go fall, be kind to each other, and remember to always bring the light. I love you. Slan.